Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome again to Bonesy's Story Time. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. I know it's school time again, and by the end of this term, the fourth term, the end of the year, everyone will be back at school. You've done a great job to get this far, and it'll be lovely to go to school with your mates again, and which will happen eventually, and then we'll all have Christmas. So good times ahead, we hope, for our state. We've worked hard for it. I've got a special story for you today I'd like to share with you. It's a book that I've had for quite some time, and it's a very special story that belongs to the Bangerang people of the Yorta nation. The Bangerang are one of 8 clans of the Yorta nation. And those people come from the north central parts of Victoria and the southern parts across the Murray River in New South Wales. For the Yorta people, they didn't have a boundary there. All that country belonged to the Yorta people and still, of course, belongs to them. This story is a story of the Bangerang people that was told by a very special woman by the name of Aunty Irene Thomas, a Bangerang woman from up at Shepparton. Sadly, Aunty Irene Thomas passed away at the end of 2019, and I'd like to begin by paying my respect to her family. Extend my deep sympathies for the loss of such a great woman from your midst. She dedicated her life to sharing the stories of the Bangerang people with everyone. And because she made this book, we can still are able to share them and enjoy them. I'd also like to pay my respects to all Bangerang people and to the Yorta nation and to all the nations in Victoria and also all over this great country, all across Australia, so many nations of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. And I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to live on this wonderful land. Aunty Irene Thomas told the story of this book. It's a Bangerang story that she has told. It's been edited by Jan Deans and Robert Brown, and illustrated by Aunty Irene Thomas and Robert Brown. It's a beautiful book, and it's been published by the University of Melbourne's Early Learning Centre. So good on them for doing that. Another special treat in this story is that a friend of mine, David Dryden, has allowed me to use some of his didgeridoo music. He's a Yorta fella from up there or in that country. And David Roo Dryden he's a great didge player, and he's recorded a couple of albums, and so I asked him would he mind if I put some on the back of this story, because I think it works well. So many thanks, Dave. The album I've used is Eerie, but he has another album that's called Yorta Boy Dreaming. So look out for those if you'd like some good didge music, but you'll hear it in the story later on. So, how the Murray River was made. That great, long, beautiful, wide, ancient river. Anyone who's been up that way, and particularly you people who listen to these stories from Shepparton or Yakandanda or anywhere else, up along that area, you know how beautiful that ancient river is. Very special. So I'll begin reading the story as Aunty Irene would have done. Are you listening? I'm going to tell you a Bangerang story about how the Murray River was made. They're beautiful pictures. One day, an old woman was walking with her 3 dingoes. She was looking for grubs and berries. She's carrying a digging stick to help her find the grubs. She walked a long way over hills and mountains, through forests and bushland, and across flat and waterless plain. Do you know what she did? What do you think she did as she went along? As she walked, she dragged her digging stick behind her. The stick dragged and scratched, making a track along the ground. See the track made? What do you think it looks like, that track? Nearby, there was a turnip pan, a big snake of many colours, sleeping in the hills. The sound of the digging stick woke Turnip Pan, and he came down the hills, slithering and sliding. He was very angry. He thrashed to and fro, deepening the track made by the old woman. His movements carved out a wide riverbed. Soon after, it rained and rained, creating a river that was long, deep, and wide. A bit like all the rain that we've been having lately, isn't it? And that's how the Murray River was made, stretching all the way to the sea. Listen to the sound of the sea, and you may hear the voice of the old woman as she sings in her sleep. That would be a good thing to do. What a lovely story. And when Aunty Irene Thomas worked on this book, they also created some activities to do. So you or your mum or dad or auntie or uncle might find those about different aspects of the story, about how the Murray River was made. The big snake, Turnip Pan. Sometimes we call it a rainbow snake, rainbow serpent. But that big snake is often in the stories about how the land began. So it's one of those beautiful stories of the Bangerang people that goes a long way back, and they've told it through the generations. So the Bangerang, like a lot of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, are great storytellers, and it's lovely to have one of those stories on Bonesy Storytime. So thank you to everyone today, and to Aunty Irene's family and people. There's a couple of photos of Aunty Irene working with some of the children as she used to tell the stories, and a couple of pictures of the Murray River, and a chance to listen to some of Dave's beautiful ditch music. I hope you've enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye.